Vikas is a business transformation practitioner with passion for applying lean people behaviors and practices. Besides that, he has various digital transformation initiative inspired by cross-functional teams to deliver the business forward business strategies. So let's welcome Vikas Kapila at the stage of our virtual event.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Awesome. When we can see people, it's sometimes helpful to just ask, right? Welcome. Good evening to folks in Pakistan, and hello to all across the world. Time here. It's an opportunity, and we're here to talk about OKRs as put objective and key results. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yes.
I like the positive responses, and that helpful. So, talking a little bit about OKRs, and from the introduction, let's talk about when the word OKR was actually talked about. It was probably in 1970s, when actually Intel was trying to evolve from being a memory company into a microprocessor company. And at that time, the Intel CEO, Andy Grove, used this as his key way of having conversations and setting the goals for the organization to evolve. And as we say today, provide strategic agility as evolve as a company. And in his book that he put together in 1995, High Output Management, is where he introduced the words OKRs to us in the world. And what he tried to say is basically very simple. Where do I want to go as a company? How will I pace myself to see if I am getting there? So these were very simple things if you sound of it, but what it created was a very healthy pace and an organization. If we go back to 1995 and think about how traditional management happened, we were still looking at big batch and huge time frames of things. Fast forward to 2018, less than 2 years ago, right? John Doerr, who used to work for Andy Grove at that time in Intel, learned about this method, experienced it. So when he became an early investor in Google, and now is the current board member, talks about how he introduced the same concept as an investor of Google to help Google evolve. And now, today, as he puts out in his book in 2018, Measure What Matters, he talks about how Google, Bono, and Bill Gates Foundation and others use OKRs as a framework to help build the business, right? Help deliver things effectively, more efficiently, and in a more strategic manner. So it became pretty popular, right? Because the investor of Google said Google's done so great. So now that it's become such high popularity, what's the first thing we hear? A lot of the companies want to adopt OKRs. So the bosses just say, let's do OKRs. And that's where we start. Well, great, let's do OKRs. We, the team, we are the effective people. We are hardworking, sincere, creative, innovative team members. We say, we are on it. Thank you, boss. We'll get going. And with that, what happens? The first reaction is, so what exactly are OKRs? And we start going to Google, going to Bing, going to figuring out what OKRs. And when we do the basic search, we come up with a concise statement that shows us objectives or qualitative things that help us propel the organization forward, move the things forward. They're those big ideas, right? they inspire, they motivate. Generally, as an organization, I want to have 3 to 5 objectives. And then we talk about key results. Well, key results are the quantifiable outcomes that need to be smart, right? 2 to 4 key results, some say 3 to 5 key results for each objective. Why? Because I want each of those smart key results to be time boxed, to be short lived, so that I can see that I am on the right path to achieve the objective. Now, what happens? We are in our project world today. We are delivering projects, and then my leader tells me I need to go and work through OKRs, objective key results. So, what's the first thing we do? We take our projects and say, these are our objectives. And then we take all the KPIs that we have aligned to our projects and start calling them as key results. So what did we just do? We took a concept, because the boss says we have to follow the concept. We relabeled what we were doing into the new concept, and we say, great, we are doing OKRs. We did not change any behaviors. We are still working the same way. So what happens now? Are we actually evolving and delivering as objectives key results, or are we still delivering in the same traditional project mindset? What do you guys think? Feedback would be nice.
I guess it's still the same.
It's still the same, right? It's like I woke up today, I wore a new shirt, a fresh shirt. Am I a new man? Not really. I'm the same person. If my behaviors don't change, I'm still the same thing. I just changed my clothes, right? So that's what happens a lot when we adapt a new framework or a new practice or something. We keep doing the same things and we expect a different result. If we keep doing the same things, we'll get different results. That's basic truth. And so that's what we see, is that when these OKR initiatives get implemented a lot, that we see something like this evolving, where there is a decay of understanding. The objectives that the top of the house is giving us and the executives that are following through with it and middle management, the understanding of it keeps reducing, almost like the lost in translation, as we say in engineering world, TCP packets getting lost, right? That alignment, that understanding of what the strategy was, what the need of the objective was, gets lost, and people keep focusing more and more on delivering the project. Very rarely do they understand why are they working on that project.
I think there is some connectivity issue. We're trying to figure that thing out. Please give us a few. Hold on.
Machine Vikas, can you hear me now?
Yes, we
We
can.
can.
Awesome. Yeah, I realized that I was just talking to myself.
We lost you for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see if I can share my screen again. So where was I when you lost me?
Yes, exactly on this slide.
Thank you. So we were talking
The
about
previous one.
The next one, Vikas, next one.
Okay, perfect. So the idea over here we were talking about is that when we start changing our clothes but not our behaviors, and we walk into it, what happens? We lose the alignment, right? Because people get too busy focusing on completing the project, not realizing why they're working on the project, not realizing what's the important piece of the project. They just keep focusing on their tasks. And you see that there is that lost in translation thing happening, TCP packets dropping off, and thereby we start seeing a true decay of alignment. At the leadership level, everyone seems to be more aligned. And as we go down the organization, we start seeing that there is less and less alignment between the leadership and stuff. So the key aspect over here, what do we get? We get effective workforce, us, the people who are so effective, innovative, creative people working with lack of clarity. We don't really know why we are working on the project. We know, do as you told, work on the project and be on it. So what does it result? It gives us lackluster results. We always see that people are not happy. There's too much tension in the system. There's too much frustration in the system. Like, I worked so hard on this project for 2 years, but again, the boss not happy, the customer's not so happy. What's causing all of this frustration and stuff? And that's where we talk about how can we use OKRs, the objective key results, and why we talk about scaled OKRs at scale so importantly and effectively is because we really need not only to be able to set the objective, not only to have the key results well defined and everything, but we need to have that alignment built. So strategy and alignment so that there is a clarity across the why are we doing this or what are we working on across the whole organization. So that's the element that we want to focus on, strategy and alignment and organizational clarity as the true values that will help us evolve our new behaviors. So as you can see, there are about 8 bullet points that we talk about. What are key elements that help us build that strategy and alignment, organizational clarity? I think if you visit our website, scaledokrs.com, you will see them also very explicitly called out there. This helps us from our perspective to say the whole scaled OKRs framework, as we talk about it, is intent is to help build that strategy and alignment to ensure organizational clarity so we can move the company forward, so we can propel the company in the direction aligned together as a whole organization. At this point, the intent is that decay of understanding should reduce so that where we start, the top of the house should be more aligned together rather than 50-50. There should be more 80-20, 90-10 aligned so that there's less competition at leadership level and more alignment. And that would help build more alignment as we go through the organizational flow. For this, the framework we talk about is most important is build the team. Now, what we want about talk about the team over here is basically talking about the team that is the leadership team, that's empowered to actually set the objectives, but also to help facilitate those conversations and build that alignment and clarity in your organization, right? And so it's almost like your center of excellence for OKRs. It could be called the implementation team. It could be the guild or the tribe. I have seen people call it different names, but the intent is this is that coalition, initial coalition that helps seed the thought and actually make it a robust practice in the organization. Important is communication, right? If you don't communicate, you can't have alignment. And we need to communicate to a point where it feels like it's a spam, right? You have to communicate in all forms. Just saying that I've sent a couple of emails is not good enough because there are visual learners, there are auditory learners, there are kinetic learners. So based on that, we need to make sure there are enough posters, there are enough emails, there are webinars, there are lunch and learns. You need to set a communication plan that talks about different ways. And then finally, asking people to change behaviors without equipping them with knowledge about how to change behaviors and why is it important to change behavior does not really help. So let's look at these things step by step. When we talk about building the team, it is the leadership team that needs to come together in a cross-functional role. Now, like every team, this team needs to have its executive sponsor as well as the program owner that helps facilitate the conversation. So you cannot say that you will have a team self-managing and self-organizing, but not have something that helps define self-manage, self-organize around what, right? There needs to be those constraints. There need to be those prioritization and conversations happening. So you need to have those two roles happening. So if you are used to Scrum, you can say these roles are very strong representatives of the product owner and the Scrum Master in the mindset, right? That one setting the priorities, the others helping facilitate the conversation in the team. This is a team of leadership though, that's helping set the objectives and the key results so that they can build alignment across the organization. as I was talking about the importance of communication strategy, you need to have a strategy where you're talking about how you're having your town halls, how you're having your emails. We talk about the word Gemba. Gemba is being making sure that the leaders are actually going to the place where work is happening and actually talking to people where it is there. So every week, every month, there needs to be a specific form of communication. It's not like I said at the start of the year what the annual objectives were. So I'm good. Let's go back at the end of the year to check how did we do on it. No, it's a step-by-step thing that has to happen and evolve. When we talk about the training, the important piece is not just say that, hey guys, go to the Google, Bing, search yourself and figure out what you need to do, but actually invest in the people to be playing the right role. Invest in leaders that you want, the executive owners, to understand how to write good OKRs, but also invest in people how to facilitate those cycles, the OKR cycle, the communications and stuff. So the important being, train the trainers. For your own organization, you need to train your trainers. You cannot depend on an external consultant forever, right? Staff augmentation is amazing, but you need to have internal people invested, right? If you are not personally invested in your growth as an organization, why would somebody else care? So it's important, train your internal trainers and then have them build the leaders, the facilitators and practitioners in the organization. This step 1 and 2 really helps you execute the OKR cycle. So simplifying it, let's build the team, let's create the communication strategy, equip our people, train our people, and then we can execute the OKR cycle. And I've talked about the OKR cycle. Well, what is it? Let's look at that. It's basically a 5-step quarterly cycle where we want every quarter to establish our enterprise context and then use that enterprise context. What is my enterprise objectives, my enterprise strategic themes, and then co-create the local OKRs for each respective area, whether it's my department, whether it's my team. As if I were to correlate with what Moshin was saying earlier in his talk about the SAFE framework, if you look at it, then you establish your enterprise context, the strategic themes, then each portfolio needs to create their own portfolio vision, update its portfolio objectives, which will co-create and then talk about the large solution objectives, and that will help build the program vision. So it's kind of that nested loop where you want to build from your portfolio vision, your solution vision, and slice being a program vision. And those things, visions, are what's going to help you build your objectives for that particular quarter. Now, if you have those, that is what should be your litmus test or your filter that helps you say, which are the top 10 features that you want to work on? What are the top activities you want to work on as an organization at that time in the next quarter? So it's a very interesting way how, whether you're doing traditional project management or you're doing SAFe or you're doing Scrum, how you can use the OKR framework as a decision-making framework to enable you to have that journey while you're figuring out what's the right thing to work on now. Because the key element is less is more. I don't want to be working on more. I need to be delivering more delight to my customers. So working on fewer things, but the right things so that my customers are happier. And for this, the key element is that vertical and horizontal alignment that we really need to build in our organizations. Do we see competing priorities in organizations where one department says this is priority 1 for me, the other one says not so much, I have a different priority 1, and suddenly our teams have 5 priority 1s to work with? Is that a reality for all of us, or is that not? What do you think?
Yes, it is.
Yep, definitely.
Right? So that's the key over here, that how we can use this opportunity to use OKRs to build that vertical alignment and horizontal alignment. Vertical alignment is still there. A lot of us know what our bosses want out of us, and we expect our bosses to know what their bosses want out of them. However, that horizontal alignment, where we want our bosses to have alignment with their peers so that we are all working on the priority 1 for the organization together, rather than competing between 5 priority 1s of the company, right? So that communication change that really helps is this OKR cycle really helps build that. And with the cadence of a couple of times a week to weekly to monthly reviews, essentially what this does is takes your present day behaviors, the weekly status meetings, takes your monthly business reviews and your quarterly business reviews, and asks us to actually change the behaviors we adapt in these reviews. If we take these uh, weekly status, monthly business reviews, and quarterly business reviews and start behaving in the new way that Agile asks us to behave in, it actually uh, helps us focus in that communication with transparency, building alignment, then it really helps the journey, right? Now, when you want to start this, sometimes we think, hey, let's start with OKRs at our team level and it is great enough. It helps, but the impact is so low. So what we say, my experience in the last 2 to 3 years of actually helping go through this and build this is, let's start at the top. And if you look at all the examples, even in Andy Grove's book and in Mr. Doerr's book, they're all talking about starting at the top. Why? Because that's where alignment comes from. We can have alignment in one flow. Energy flows from high energy to low energy. So if we want alignment, we really need the understanding of why are we being asked to do something, clarity, right? The why answers that clarity aspect, and that's really what's important and helpful. So this is where from the last three examples that we've done in last few months has proven that theory, because and the team level, we will be very busy. We'll help the teams, they'll write the perfect OKRs, they'll write, but then the belief comes in and the system helps and says, oh, this priorities changed, because they don't have the clarity on why they're doing what they are doing. The what keeps changing. The why is the remaining the same. It's very much in line with, there are multiple ways of getting the things done. One may work, one may not work. So if you understand why you're working on something, you will focus on helping with that journey and have better understanding. So getting that organizational clarity and strategic alignment starting high enough is important. Now, people will say, but you know what? We are busy people. We have so much to deliver and so much to do. How can I take a day out of my job as a team and take the whole team, my leadership team of 10 leaders out of this for a day to go through this, understanding how to put the cycle together, and then how do I take my teams, and then that goes through your whole hierarchy, as we talk about here, that everybody needs to be train the leaders, train the practitioners, equip them with this new body of knowledge and understanding on how to go. Oh, it's too expensive. I'm like, yes.
प्लेट ला दोगे मेरी?
Yeah, cool. So, but the benefit is multifold, right? If you look at it, it pays for itself in less than a quarter, all the investment you may do. Because if I'm looking at an organization of even 100 people, and if my customer retention increases by 2 times, or my customer sat numbers increase by 3 times, or my leadership effectiveness grows by even 2 times, forget the 8.71 numbers that the case studies have shown and stuff, then employee engagement improves by 16.8. What does employee engagement by 16.8 times, not 16.8 percentage, 16.8 times increase means? It's like I am improving 1600% my productivity. If my employee engagement improves by that much, we are improving a productivity by that much, means that I have more innovative, more creative, more people looking at the thing to solve, the understanding the why. I think it pays for it very easily. And there are multiple Excel workbooks and sheets that the CFO's done, and proof is in the pudding with so many Fortune 100 companies, like we talk Fortune 10 even, like Google and Facebook, getting success out of it is a proof in itself that doing it the right way is important. So summarizing what we talked about, the important thing that we really want to focus on is the challenges to overcome, build alignment, right? Get organizational clarity. You will improve the employee engagement, which will help build more productive environments at the end. So that's the brief we have. questions welcome. And for myself, for this particular webinar, these are some objective and key results that I had put out. Do you think we will meet these objectives for this webinar? Meetup, conference?
Yeah.
Not from the organizing team, right? That's a key person. It has to come from the participants. Then it truly landed on people. It made some difference and help. So, and for more information, please feel free to reach out right here. And for trainings, people were asking on the chat earlier, I was looking at, this is the website. If you go to eac.eventbrite.com, you will see all our trainings listed there. Feel free. And for folks joining us, great to see numbers, 146 participants here. There's a promo code, Friends and Family 200, to give you all a $200 discount on our early bird and super early bird rates as well if you sign up sooner than later. It works as a promo code for just joining us on this conference. Thank you.